It is on! The battle lines have been drawn in the latest fight against the governor of Kentucky for precious metals supremacy. Let's talk about it as we explore. In this piece sent to me by Bill 457, breaking news, 3 Kentucky taxpayers and one of America's largest precious metal dealers has filed a class action lawsuit against Governor Andy Beshear. This is big news, folks, because there has been a long-standing battle since they first signed into law a bill to remove taxation on precious metals. If you've been on this channel and following closely, I've been keeping up with this latest news, and thanks to many members of my audience who let me know, often before I can need to do the research on it, that this is quite an amazing story here. We're going to get into that in a moment, but first I want to remind you of Summit Metals. Now, they're not the dealer I'm talking about in this story, but they're one of the fastest growing bullion dealers in the United States right now, probably the world. And why is that? Because they provide excellent service, very low prices, and fast shipping. And so they are improving themselves in the precious metals community. So just check them out for good deals there at summitmetals.com. This is quite an amazing thing. It's going to be an interesting story to watch here as we watch the battle and the revolution for sound money unfold before our eyes. And 2025 very well could be a very busy year across states in the Union as they continue to strip away taxation on precious metals and recognize gold and silver as indeed sound money, as legal tender in each of these states because, well, why not? It's in the Constitution, after all, in Article 1, Section 10. Now, this lawsuit against Governor Andrew Beshear from the Commonwealth of Kentucky and the Kentucky Department of Revenue for their illegal sales tax collections in connection with the retail purchases of gold and silver. Money Metals Exchange, Jill Stahl-Huston, Stacey Earle, and Karen Strayer filed the state court complaint in the Boone Circuit Court on behalf of themselves and all similarly situated Kentucky taxpayers and precious metal dealers across the United States. This class action suit comes immediately on the heels of overwhelming votes by both the Kentucky House and Senate to override Governor Beshear's veto this week on House Bill number 2, a measure which expanded last year's new sales tax exemption for precious metal purchases. Boy, what an obstinate governor this is, after even a veto that has been in place and an overriding that veto. Well, he is still defying the law at this point. HB 2, which became law just on March the 22nd, 2025, provided a right for full recovery and unlawfully collected taxes, plus interest. And I'm glad they're going after the interest too. Yes, stiff penalties on state officials acting in their official capacities and potentially their personal capacities, and attorneys' fees for the Department of Revenue's flagrant violation of a sales tax exemption that had taken effect on August 1st, 2024. But I tell you what, if you live in Kentucky, I hope you pay attention to state politics and vote this guy out if he runs for re-election. Representative T.J. Roberts from the 66th and Representative Steve Doan from the 69th introduced HB 2 in January of this year. And the bill was championed by the Sound Money Defense League and Money Metals Exchange, who had backed efforts since 2020 to end Kentucky's taxation on gold and silver purchases. Not just in Kentucky, but across the United States, and I've been covering it on this channel. The revolution for sound money is what I call it, when we see more and more states learn to recognize gold and silver and put them in their rightful place as supreme money. Indeed, they are a sound money that will preserve your wealth over the long course of time, no matter what the Constitution says, which, by the way, the Constitution literally recognizes what has really been history and law under natural law for many, many years, thousands of years beforehand. In 2024, the Kentucky legislature passed House Bill 8 to remove the state's 6% sales tax on purchases of gold and silver coins, bars, and rounds. Governor Beshear had attempted to exercise a line item veto that the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky had only created for appropriations bills. Rather than override the veto of HB 8 last year, however, the legislature deemed the veto invalid, and the reviser of statutes codified the sales tax exemption in accordance with the State Attorney General Russell Coleman's legal opinion. Governor Beshear and his Department of Revenue nevertheless insisted that all Kentucky citizens must pay, and all businesses that sell gold and silver must continue to collect and remit such taxes or face prosecution. Governor Beshear's brazen and illegal actions have put online precious metal dealers like the Money Metals Exchange in an unattainable position. But we refuse to be the bagman in his illegal money grab, says Stephen Gleason, CEO of Idaho-based Money Metals Exchange, a U.S.-focused dealer and depository, recently named best overall precious metals and for the storage for depository by Investopedia. We are proud to stand with our three brave co-plaintiffs to take on this scofflaw governor to protect the rights of tens of thousands of Kentucky savers and investors, according to Gleason here. Gold and silver are money, and folks should not be taxed for saving gold and silver to protect themselves from inflation and currency debasement. And by the way, if we're coming up on April 2nd here, and I know April 2nd is all in the news about tariffs, but it also is the anniversary of the Mint Act of 1792. A very important date for sure, because that not only created the establishment of a mint here in the United States, but it defined what a dollar was in weights of silver and gold. Yes, gold and silver indeed are money, as outlined in Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution, codified by Delaware first in 1787, and then a lot of the other states in the following year. And now here we have it. All 50 states have recognized the Constitution as law, including Kentucky, by the way, which is a commonwealth. So you understand, one of the four, I think, in the United States. But nonetheless, a commonwealth has adopted the Constitution. Therefore, I think that there should be no laws that go directly against the Constitution, including taxing money. It's insane to tax money. Constitutional money, exactly, right. And that's what gold and silver are. They are money, and folks, you cannot be taxed for saving gold and silver to protect themselves from inflation and currency debasement. Almost every other state in our nation agrees and has already removed sales taxes from constitutional money, at least on some level. Kentucky has not yet. Vote that governor out next election. In addition to recovery of back taxes, interest, and attorney's fees, the class action suit seeks temporary and permanent injunctive relief, preventing further collection of sales taxes on gold and silver, and any enforcement actions taken by the Beshear administrations against citizens of Kentucky or precious metal dealers like Money Metals and everybody else who does business in the state of Kentucky. Wow, I tell you what. And you know, the reason why I'm so against this governor is how just obtuse he is in terms of his view on gold. He says, if you can afford to buy gold, you can pay the tax. How ignorant of this guy, and how presumptive of him to make such a statement. But that's the world we live in, and that's how these people operate. Nonetheless, we are empowered by having gold and silver in our possession. And that's exactly why I think and I hope that Kentuckians will certainly pay attention to this story. And if subscribe to this channel if you are a Kentuckian, because I'm going to try my best to bring you the latest news. And this is just breaking news as sent to me by Bill457, who I thank again for this. If you enjoyed content like this, where I give you the latest news on world of precious metals, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel and press that thumbs up button down below. And when you do subscribe, press the notification bell so that you can be apprised of the latest video that makes its way across your device. I do post daily content, and I try my best to keep up with the latest news in the world of precious metals. So I appreciate every one of you who do subscribe, because my goal is to try to get 100,000 of you who subscribe by the end of this calendar year. That's December the 31st, 2025. So, with that being said, I'm going to pay attention to the story. We'll see what happens here. And thank God for these folks filing this lawsuit, and the citizens especially who have taken the time to join this class action lawsuit and make it on behalf of all Kentucky taxpayers. And if we win this fight there, it's going to be a big impetus to keep going, and there will be a lot more motivation to look at other states and try to win back the supremacy of gold and silver as sound money in these states. And that will further, again, be another nail in the coffin to the Federal Reserve System, of which we find ourselves a part by law from 1913. And along with that, around the same time, was the income tax. It'd be nice to do away with the income tax, too. And it would be nice if we could use tariffs or some other means to collect other than through income. So there you have it. We're going to see how this all plays out in the long run, but pay attention to here and stay tuned. We'll see what happens. So I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.